If you are tuning in, whether it's Facebook or on LinkedIn or now on YouTube, it's good to see you. This is Jonathan Florence, Ganina Brennan, co-founders of Scaling Lean. But every week we go live sharing wins, losses, successes, and failures that we've seen in the online space. We have a really good topic for you today. So this is going to be part of our mini course that we're releasing. It's going to be all about the conversion blueprint. So if you are here, all I want you to do is drop a hashtag live. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. With that being said, JP, we could dive right in.
If you guys missed last week's interview with Devin Butler, we covered an amazing strategy to really help you grow your community, whether that's in person, hosting a live event, or virtually with school or Facebook. Devin's an amazing character. He's generated over $500,000 fully low ticket with over 6,000 members in Arizona. So today, Nina, awesome topic. I'm super excited to go into this. Building email nurturing campaigns and text campaigns to keep our leads engaged and keeping those calls coming through on autopilot and deals closing on autopilot based on just showcasing our story, our message, our testimonials, how we can help solve problems for the people that we are really purposely driven to connect with, right? So let's hop in. I'm super pumped. Let's do this.
Yeah, so the past couple of weeks, we have been going live sharing our ultimate lead magnet guide for small business owners. And everything that we're doing is playing into this ultimate lead magnet guide. It's really, we're starting with the ultimate lead magnet guide, then it's the landing pages, 10 elements to the landing pages that you need to convert. Then it's a 35-day opt-in sequence, and then it's also the call extraction system. So what we're doing is we're releasing a series of videos that's really a combination of everything that we've been doing to get people from social media onto calls and calls turning into clients. So I just wanted to break that down and really just open that up. But today we want to talk about the conversion blueprint, which is one of the pieces of the 4 stages that we're talking about. And the conversion blueprint is the opt-in sequence behind the lead magnet. It's a 35-day opt-in sequence that turns somebody who's coming from social media or from ads into a nurtured lead who understands who you are, what you do, why you do it, the proof of concept behind everything that you're doing, and turns them into an appointment and that appointment into a client.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as part of this mini course that's coming out in the next few weeks here, we talked already in past live events about how to attract leads with lead magnets, right? Super important to really turn your followers into deeper levels of awareness so they get to know what you're doing. Then we talked about structuring your opt-in page and how to get your conversions up and understand how to turn a 20% opt-in page minimum to a 30, 40, and even 50% opt-in page. So if you missed those past lives, let us know, drop a comment below. We can hook you up with all that. So now this is now phase 3, where we're moving into the automated opt-in sequence that people will go through in that next level of awareness, right? So now that they've raised their hand for the lead magnet, they've given you their information. Now we're going to take them down a journey of storytelling, testimonials, and value-driven content to really so they understand more about what we do.
Yeah, before we get into the actual sequencing, I want to talk a little bit about what we focus on here at Scaling Lean and why we build out such an extensive lead magnet opt-in sequence. So we are talking about today a 35-day opt-in sequence, and the whole idea here behind Scaling is we focus on 45% of the leads that a lot of people miss out on. So our rule or our theory that we follow is 5% of leads that are coming into the ecosystem are leads that are going to buy right away or show intent to buy right away. Then you have 45% of leads that are sitting in the ecosystem that have an intent to buy or an intention to buy, but they don't buy right away because they need to trust or they need more proof of concept or they need to be nurtured more. And then 50% of leads are people that are just never going to buy and you shouldn't even put energy onto them. And the reason that we're doing this email sequence and everything that we're talking about is to focus on the 45% of people in the follow-up process. So I just want to clear that up because so many times people are asking for more leads, more leads, more leads, but the answer isn't always more leads. It's to nurture the leads that you do generate, whether it is from paid advertising or from social media, etc. So let's talk a little bit about how we break down this 35-day email sequence. There's 3 phases to it before we hop into the first email. Phase 1 is awareness and getting them on board of who you are. The second phase is consideration, is pushing them down the funnel of now they know who you are. You're going to showcase more so proof of concept of why they should work with you. And then phase 3 is making the decision of putting that urgency and pressure on them to move, make the decision. So now we could go a little bit into like the first week of how we structure this awareness phase, JP, of email number 1 through email number 7 and what we're doing with this daily email drip for the first week.
Yeah, for sure. And there's probably no better way to do this, Nina, than to kind of visualize this, right? You did send out a newsletter a few weeks back outlining this entire process. So why don't I pop this open real quick and we can take a look just to give someone a little bit better of an understanding at like a visualized view of this, right? Because I know for me, when I'm learning or understanding new ideas, I'd like to visualize what it is, right? So, as you can see here on the screen, days 1 through 7 are the value stack emails, and what we're going to focus on is sending these emails out every single day. So during day 1, we're going to start with welcoming them into our world and delivering whatever they opted in for, whether that's a VSL, whether that's a lead magnet guide, whether that's a mini course, whatever that thing is. We're going to get them right to that thing again immediately. So then they can start consuming and understanding more deeper levels of the guide and the thing they opted in for. It's really that simple. It doesn't have to be that complicated. We have loads of swipe files and we'll provide examples. If you just drop a comment opt-in sequence and we can drop you over a template of all this information to get you going on your version 1. So then day 2 is really going to be based around continuing that introduction and then offering them a quick win in some way based on the guide. So think of the guide or thing that they opted in for as like this 30,000 foot view. And then the quick win is going to be a micro portion of what that guide is. So maybe they didn't read or watch the course. Take a little piece of whatever you gave them, whatever they opted in for, and get them a quick win from a little portion of what they opted in for, right? So they don't have to go digging through the guide or watching a 5 minute video. Just give them the quick win right away. Nina, do you have anything to put on top of that before we move on?
What the quick win, you're just telling your story these first 7 days. And I think that's something that's super crucial to include here. A couple of weeks ago, I know that you put out a great newsletter about storytelling in opt-in sequences or just storytelling in general. Day 1 through 7 is you're selling through your story. And I just want to put that there as like a quick win isn't just like a case study or testimonial that's just aggressively in their face, but it's sharing your story and how you came up with this product, service, solution, etc.
Absolutely. Love that you brought in storytelling. That was where I was going next with day number 3, right? We're going to want to build a backstory and authority through our transformation. So where was it that we started? And it needs to be super hyper targeted on what they opted in for and bring it like relevance into what they're doing. We'll have additional training on storytelling in the coming weeks. We could spend 3 hours on a call right now talking about storytelling, but it's going to be bridging the gap of the backstory and leading them into the reasons why they really opted in and the reason why you're doing what you're doing and why they should be doing it or considering doing it, right? Which will then lead them into day 4, which is deeper in education and value and providing proof of concept. So now you're bringing, okay, day 3 is more about me and my journey. Day 4 is more about, okay, I brought this to another person and this is what they did with it, right? So now you're showcasing the transformation and what it did for other people. And then day 5, this is all hand in hand. You're sharing success stories and open loop teasers. That's all the same thing, but it's just framed in a different way to just showcase the story in different ways, right? So it's a multifaceted story.
And with the open loop teaser, the reason that we put teasers instead of hard call to actions in these emails, you want to create the call to action to loop them back to more valuable assets rather than making an offer. Because again, if these people are cold leads, whether they are coming from social media or they are coming from paid advertising, they might not trust you yet. So we're going to just say an offer is coming or look out for an email tomorrow because we don't want to forcefully sell if they're not ready. And this goes hand in hand with like making the right offer to the right people at the right time. We're just warming them up and getting them ready for that offer drop.
Absolutely love that. And then day 6, you're now creating urgency and ultimately making an offer to go deeper into the transformation and get a understanding at a higher level, right? So that could be book a call, it could be buy something, a low ticket something that goes into a higher level of education. So that's going to be the urgency that you're creating there. And then you're going to reveal the secret and again, take the next step. So those are kind of hand in hand as well. Nina, do you have anything to put on that?
A lot of people do buy within the first week, or they take the next step, whether you are providing more free value, but they're really just getting acclimated to your ecosystem that you've built. whether it is robust email marketing sequence like we're putting here, different lead magnet sequences, or for example, us, we have our free 4 module course that we put out. We have our Facebook community, and we can track where people are navigating through our ecosystem to get nurtured. And based on their nurturing, you'll know how to approach the manual touch points that are going to be put in place. I don't want to get too deep into that, but let's talk about phase 2 consideration, Jake.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I just wanted to bring one more topic into this. I know we're talking specifically about email on this live event right now, but when you become more in tune with what's going on inside of your marketing process, these phases should also be being executed inside of the DMs and at all levels, whether that's a networking event, be in tune with who you're speaking with and how you're communicating with them in the different phases of awareness that you're meeting and introducing things to people, right? Because that's ultimately what's going to move them down the pipeline to the different levels. So I know we're talking specifically about email, but as you become an expert and you become a master of your craft, you're going to want to implement these phases no matter what you're doing, whether that's on a sales call, whether that's in the DMs, whether that's in your content. You're going to want to be doing this at all levels. All right. So now that we've talked about phase 1, let's move on to phase 2, which is consideration. So maybe they didn't take action in the first 7 days. Totally normal. Only 5% of people do. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to move them down further. And the best way to do that is, again, we're going to show more proof, we're going to share value, and we're going to address objections based on the things that they're going through or could potentially be objecting about in their minds of why they're not buying or why they're not taking action. So Nina, why don't you take the reins here and showcase a little bit about the consideration phase?
Yeah. So think about it first. The first 7 days, you're inviting them to take the next step. And if they have not, they're not ready for the pitch. So instead of pitching, focus on educating and providing more value in this next week, week and a half, depending on how you're breaking it down for your own opt-in sequence. So how to think about their problem differently is something that you want them to open their minds to. Number 2 is what common mistakes are they trying to avoid in order to get to the transformation or the solution that they're looking for, and why most solutions don't work and how yours is different than, I guess, the competition out there, we can say. So we do this every other day. So the first 7 days, we really just pound them with 7 days of information, getting to know us, inviting them into the ecosystem, getting them through different automated sequences. But now we're in day 8 through 15 for the trust builder. And day 8 is just frequently asked questions. So if you've taken sales calls before, or if you've been inside the DMs, I'm sure there's questions that your prospects have asked you, or even your clients that came through the door of how to do XYZ. You want to include that in day 8 email. What it's like working with you, great one to include. Or how is your program different? As I said before, a couple of ways that you have helped clients individually that, got the results. Day 10, we're going to share a personal story and lesson learned. So we really want to continue with the storytelling. They don't know you just because you sent 7 emails on the first week, right? So you still want them to get to know who you are, what you're selling, why you're selling it, how you came up to this hero's journey that we are selling through this buyer's journey. Day 12 is a valuable intensive with training. So whether you're doing a YouTube video or a live training here on Facebook, like what we're doing right here, or an article, so you write blogs or newsletters, etc., have something of tangible value that they can take and use to get a quick win or a quick result. Because that will build so much trust if you are able to give them a lead magnet or a value training that they could go and execute and get the result from that execution. It's instant trust right there. And day 14 is a little push of urgency and a reminder. So you already made the offer in day 7, day 8, give or take, whenever you're giving out the email. Loop them back to that teaser that you gave. And you can make this a harder call to action, or you could do it in a very light way of hey, a couple of open seats, take the next step and learn a little bit more.
Absolutely. Love how you broke that down, Nina. One I want to just bring to the forefront here is do this every other day, right? One thing we're doing here is we're not just pounding people with emails, right? One thing you might be getting out of this is very strategic, right? And a lot of people say email doesn't work. It does. As long as you have a strategy behind what you're doing and you're being very intentional about the things that you're doing and when you're doing them, right? That's what's going to enhance the open rate, the click rates, and all the things to keep your delivery up and all the people moving through your sales pipeline and asking questions, replying to what you're doing, right? That's when you're going to know that you're doing this the right way. So absolutely love how you broke that down. I don't really think I have anything other than that little awareness piece that I put there, Nina. So I guess we can move on now to phase three, which is making the decision. So now what we're going to do in phase three, um, they're ultimately potentially on the edge of making a decision to take the book the call or buy the low ticket thing. So we're going to want to uh, make sure that they have an opportunity to make that decision. So we're going to want to have a high impact touch point, making a text message, which is personalized, not automated, or sending out a personalized DM with understanding where they are at in that buyer's journey. So then we can see, is this going to be a good fit or is it not going to be a fit? And that's where a lot of people drop the ball in the 45% is they're not tracking their people. They're just letting them, they're just letting them quote unquote run wild and not understanding like where they are. And this is where I believe you make the biggest impact is between days 15 and 35, because most people just forget about the people, right? So if you can set yourself apart from the others and read through your comments on LinkedIn, pull up the person's name, see what they said to you, or pull up their DMs and see how the conversation went, or check your email and see who replied and said one thing. And if you can make something very personalized for that person, that's going to set you apart from all your competition. That's going to move that person onto a sales call and give you the opportunity to make them an offer.
Yeah, I really love how you brought up the 45% here because this is a crucial pivotal point of deciphering between the 50% of they're never going to buy, they're not interested, they're never going to look at your content again, and the 45% that could be in the ecosystem for 1 week, 2 months, 2 years, etc., and will eventually buy. Anyone who's watching this live or anyone who's watching this replay, have you ever followed somebody for about a year and then decided eventually to buy their product service, whether it's low ticket or high ticket? It doesn't even have to be a product or service. It could be a t-shirt or shoes or something like that that are in the pipeline that you're getting retargeted for. This is crucial because if they keep sending emails, they keep sending text messages, they keep nurturing their prospects or even retargeting with ads, this is where a no or I forgot about you turns into a yes. I just wanted to bring that up. This is that pivotal point between the two of leads lose who you are, they never come back to you, or they stay in the pipeline and they are really nurtured.
Absolutely love that. Yeah. So why don't we dive deep into a little bit deeper of an understanding of what these emails will look like. But before that, we do have a call extraction system guide. Ultimately, this will walk you through how to segment your CRM, the exact setting script that we use for text and email, the exact voicemail we leave, the exact script that we use when we reach out and try to get people onto phones. If you want that, drop a hashtag call extraction system and we'll send that over to you. Super impactful. We've booked calls. Man, I can't even remember the records, honestly, Nina. Like at this point, it's been pretty insane. The amount of impact that extraction system guide has had for our clients and our business, right? So now that we've got that out of the way, so day 15 through 35, what you're going to see here is we're going to basically bounce back between objection handling and myth debunking and testimonial emails, right? So again, you can see there's a pretty big through line here of handling objections and showing proof, right? So what is it that's not making them take action? The five biggest things, you should have a list of those things and continuously update it based on feedback you're generating. And then also showcasing your client testimonials. And these don't have to always be my client went from zero to $100,000 in 3 days. It can be little micro testimonials based on small things like they implemented my call strategy and booked 5 calls in 48 hours, right? Like that's a huge thing that someone might be struggling with. Instead of they might not want to go from 0 to 100K. They might just want to get 5 sales calls in the next week, right? So showcasing different case studies and different testimonials based on different levels of people. And what's also important, I know we're going to do a whole live on testimonials and case studies as well. We want to diversify those testimonials, right? We don't want to just have males between 20 and 25, and say we have females and males inside of our program ranging from 20 to 50, right? If you do have males between 20 and 30, by all means, just hammer that one niche. But oftentimes what we learned in our journey is we were just one person avatar, or we didn't have enough diversification in testimonials that we were showcasing properly, right? So it's important to diversify those. Do you have anything to put on top of the objections or testimonials, Nina?
No, I think you're ripping. I would love for you to rip from then until 35.
Right on. Awesome. So ultimately, once we get down to day 31 and 35, and again, these are every 3 days now, Nina, every twice per week. So you're bouncing between 3 and 4 days. We're gonna basically do a final urgency and hard nudge. So think of this like a promotional email, right? Like, hey, final day. We don't have to say final day. It can be multiple different things. Hey, we've been reaching out to you over the past 30 days, and we've shown you case studies, testimonial value based on the way we can support you. We have minimal spots left on our calendar this week, and we're really looking forward to seeing how we can support you, whether that's connecting you with a free resource or providing you value based on a bottleneck that you're experiencing right now. And potentially you could even become a client, right? So that's where that final urgency push comes in. And it is important to give them that opportunity, because if they don't get the opportunity, they might not even know it's there, honestly, right? And then the day 35 is just your final check-in, ultimately like sending them off per se, just letting them know like, hey, it was great like being with you for these past 30 days again. And from now on, this is what you should expect from us, whether that's a newsletter every week, a couple emails a week, a weekly Facebook Live event, whatever that may be. You just want to set that expectation so they're aware. And ultimately, if they wind up unsubscribing at that point, that's not the worst thing, right? They just didn't jive with what you had in place for them, or it wouldn't have been a good fit anyway. So just do that final check-in and ultimately just let them know where you're headed.
Yeah. The reason that we structure it the way that we do is everything in terms of marketing comes down to numbers and conversion rates. And we have a 35-day opt-in sequence because we are trying to nurture people and bring them to a phone call. But the reason that we include manual touch points like the call extraction system is because the average opt-in conversion to phone call is between like 1.5 and 7%. And that's on the low side. But a lot of people create lead magnets that don't really have a clear intent or reason to book a call that's going to lead them to the next step to book a call. So this opt-in sequence brings those conversions from 1.5 to 7% upward of 15 to 25%. And that's whether you're doing it yourself, you hire a call setter, and you're tapping into the list of leads that are now not only they have your lead magnet, they're being nurtured, but they're also being called on the back end. It's really a whole ecosystem to increase conversion rates from kind of low, kind of interest to people that are actually booking calls coming in because of a lead magnet. And I just wanted to put that there because it is a full system. You could do one piece here and one piece there, but until you have a full system set up, a lead magnet's not going to book you as many calls as you think if you don't have the opt-in behind it. You're not manually putting touch points, et cetera, behind everything.
Super valuable point there. I love how you brought that in, Nina. And one thing that came front of mind too is I know you're going in, we're deep in the numbers, right, Nina? Like we help businesses that earn upwards of $1 million a year, right? And what we found in businesses that are in the 7 to 8 figure range is they're really focusing on data. So oftentimes our minds go to that place. But if you're a brand new entrepreneur and you're in the, let's just say 0 to 50 sprint or 0 to 100K sprint, and you don't know anything about this data, that's all good. We have a social media audit that you can hop on with us, take 15 minutes out of your day, and we'll break down all these metrics for you in 15 minutes. No pitch, just to help you focus on what is the one thing that you're potentially resisting in your sales process. That's the biggest bottleneck right now. So if you do ever want a social media audit, just drop social media audit below. We'll connect for that 15-minute call. We'll let you know where your data is at based on your social medias, your email list size, and all the metrics inside of your business, and give you some tangible action steps to really hit that next level in the next quarter.